baby, we be riding that seesaw forever now, I'll tell you. A nice little flow, a sweet little glow, and the next thing you know, there you are right at the center of everything, riding that little seesaw with your old wizard buddy here. Well, what else can I say, man? Old Grandpa Coyote, well, it can kind of help you find a way in that sly dog sort of way, because that's the Coyote way, man, that you get here each and every day. When you tune on into Spring Creek here, the flow of life, the steady stream of love, ooh, coming to you from 7,000 feet above here in this most enchanted and enlightened place called Tues, New Mexico, baby. Yeah, we had a little change of base, man. We moved our mothership love down this way, man, which is, even higher than where we were at 9,000 feet before there in Crestonia, in Colorado, which of course we're always Coloradans and we always will be, but we're New Mexicans too. We're Utahns and Arizonans and Californians and babies. We are one big old tribe of love, man. Trying to get it together in, that Coyote sort of way, man. We're always pulling the joke on ourselves and saying, hey, maybe today's that day. The old wizard will say that one thing that he missed before, and we'll finally have an even old score, okay? That's what the old man say here on this beautiful, everlasting and ever-loving trippin' Tuesday, baby. See, when you get in the flow of Spring Creek, man, that's right from the beginning. That's everything you ever knew, everything you ever wanted to know, everything you ever wanted to be. It's all right here inside of you and me and my little doggy, too. He sets the perfect example, by the way. He just knows how to take it easy and chill and just share that love. That's why in this upside down and backwards world we call them dogs, because it really means that other thing, that supreme being, that supreme love that's in each and every one of us and everything that is, and it's one steady flow of energy. That's why we call it rock and roll here on Hazy Radio Network with Grandpa Coyote and friends, baby. Hell of a family, isn't it? Big old tribe. And babies, we're just barely getting introduced to the vibe. I'm telling you, we're here to introduce you to a much larger family than you could remember, at least a little before. But babies, we're bringing it back in a big way. Little by little here, 2 hours a day, but it'll be 9 to 11 a.m. Mountain Time. That would be like 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in Eastern Time Zone. And let's see, if we add 5 hours to that, we got around 6 p.m. or so there in the UK, right? I think I'm figuring it that way, but if I'm wrong, well, you guys set me straight. Get out your old time converter and enter 9 a.m. Mountain Time, and you will have your local time there with a couple of clicks, okay? And then you'll know when to tune in with old Grandpa. And, of course, we do post excerpts from the show here on our YouTube channel. And, babies, as this thing develops a little bit, this real radio that we're getting in the flow of Spring Creek, don't you know? Well, we're going to have some special editions go out on another channel we call Koyote.tv, but whatever, man, we just like to keep you entertained. And by the way, if you haven't been over there to thecoyoteclub.com lately, thecoyoteclub.com, well, darling, you ought to get on over there and see what's happening. We're listener-supported radio, and we support our listeners greatly with that little portal of love for humanity, okay? Just another little step in that Coyote wizardry, okay? Yeah, baby, now we're starting to sing that song that we always heard ourselves play, right? The song of the heart, coming active and alive right there inside of us today and every day, and each and every day that ever there will be, because, babies, we live to be free in the heart. That's creativity. That's life. That's love. That's the music of life, reflected well here by the likes of Uriah Heep and a whole bunch of others when you say, oh, I love these guys so much. Thanks for tuning in here, hazyradio.com. We got it on early in the day when your old grandpa and friends, this mischievous Coyote tribe, we're going to introduce you to the whole darn bunch of them for this thing's all through. You're going to remember your cousin, uncles, and aunts and all that, scared across the reality, man. You're going to remember the close connections of 1 billion years ago, let alone 35 seconds ago, etc. Because you're going to be living in that one moment of love we call Spring Creek forever, okay? There they go, running across the sky, those spirit horses, brought to us by that good old group we call Brule. The Lakota Nation put together themselves one heck of a dynamic rock and roll band, man. Been playing all over the land, Europe and Asia and everywhere, man, besides all over Turtle Island, you know. Along with those spirit horses we're riding, man, as we're making our approach to this Spring Creek sort of place. Now, when I began my little adventure out west, I say my very loosely because I'm speaking of the bloodstream that I'm a part of, which is, of course, once we get back to some place, it's the same bloodstream you're living a part of too, okay? So really we can't divide it away and say this is family and this ain't, because it's all family. Everything that lives is related to us. Everything has a similarity to us. Everything is the life we're living, right? Right. Okay, I thought you'd get that one right away, because the spirit horses, well, when you've been riding with them, man, you can't miss, right? Right. So take a ride with them today, tonight, tomorrow. Just stay with them, man, you know, because that is your soul buddies, man, you know, your big dogs with wings, man, you know. And they are more than willing to take you wherever you need to be and show you whatever you need to see. But it is said, you can lead a human to water, but you can't make them drink. You know what I mean? If they're stubborn, they're stubborn. If they don't want water, well, the horse can show you all the water there could ever be. And, you know, we won't even drown in it. You're so ornery. You see? Well, anywho, there was a time, maybe 150, 200 years ago. I think about what we got, 2018, so it's about 150, 170 years ago. Some folks decided they'd become quite adventurous, you know, and got themselves all involved in this crazy cult thing back there in the mid-1800s called Mormon, you know, whatever that was, some kind of crazy religion, you know. But out of that religion, man, came, goodness gracious, you know, some kind of odd stuff, you know, and a great big old movement of people that, you know, had a little higher ideal, a little more respect for life in some instances, but found themselves kind of going with a group. You know, they tried to form communes back there in the East. They did pretty good with that stuff at first, you know, but then, of course, you know, the powers that used to be, you know, they don't like to see people getting free in any way, shape, or form, even when they're performing slavery on themselves by accepting somebody else's idea of what ought to be, you know what I mean? The only time these things really work is when we are in essential agreement. You know, and that's why they try to create these organizations in a way to dissuade you from, you know, seeing the essential agreement that already exists in creation and doesn't need redirection by books and inflections of great prophets and so forth. You know, a bunch of BS, but yet, you know, you got to remember, that's 1850, man. People were still kind of caveman-like. They didn't even know what a cell phone was. You know what I mean? Come on, man. You got to give them a little slack. Have them a little slack here, man. You know, and understand, well, they were adventurous for their time. They were the hippies of their time. They were the ones that could not accept the avenues of convention and thought there would always be a better way because, well, guess what? They had a dream in their heart. They kind of matched up a bit here and there, synchronated a bit, right? And so they went about in their own idealistic sort of way of putting that dream together. They came out west here, you know, as so-called pioneers, as European explorers, let's say. Oh, my. But, you know, most of my bloodstream were just like I am, we're more inclined to be friends with the natives and not try to dominate or take over or rule over anything, you know. Well, the others do play those roles, so unfortunately this whole civilization changed when my ancestors came over. Nice little place called Hobble Creek, man, you know. Kind of like Spring Creek. Well, there is a Spring Creek there, too. There's Spring Creek is everywhere, man. You know, but there's a little place called Hobble Creek, you know, and old brother BYU, who was, you know, the big Yonkon campus at the time, man, well, he says, you guys go settle there. And who happened to be there but my great-great-grandmother and her brother and her 3 sons, man, you know, so they started quite a little family dynasty there, but still, it didn't always find themselves in agreement or creating the paradise they'd, in fact, kind of sometimes it felt like hell, you know, because they had so many ups and downs and rounds, and, you know, it's rough when you got to dominate nature, you know, if you think that way. It's rough because there's no real way to dominate nature. Nature dominates us. The natural heart does, you see. That's real nature. Now, we're not talking about just a dog-eat-dog kind of thing. We're talking about where everything works in syncopated reality, you know, and in total harmony to create the greatest symphonies ever lived. And we're living them right here, right now, in that Spring Creek sort of way. That original sort of way, the waters of life flowing through you, baby, because that's the way we play. I mean, don't you like it that way? The spirit horses certainly do. And so does the whole tribe of humanity. I gotta tell you, man, if we could all have it the way we wanted it, guess what? There would be no war. There'd be no conflict. There'd be nothing but people getting along and loving each other and sharing with one another and showing that they care all of the time, you know, and just singing a happy song. The thing that the little hippie movement, propelled by its rock and roll, began not that many years ago. The thing that little hippie movement 150 years ago, 170 years ago or so, when my relatives comes pioneering away over here. By the way, that's a heck of a good story. My great-great-grandmother was quite the adventuress, as you could imagine. I get the wild blood from somewhere, right? I'm telling you, it comes through the generations, baby. So don't feel the least bit bad if you're bearing the burden of some of your ancestral blessings, man. Because they're not burdens anymore. They are the blessings we speak of, see? Because we have the ability to work it out. And what they could only dream about and try to commit themselves to, we can actually do. Without all the sweat, toil, suffering, losing children, losing partners, losing everything, having to start over. I mean, goodness gracious. What a way to live, eh? That's more like a live and death when you say. But in that death, you find a determination for life. You find yourself coming back to life. You find yourself, yeah, like I said, a determination to be alive, to know what that feels like before you actually up and die, right? And babies, we human beings will go crazy in all kinds of weird directions if we think there's a little bit of joy in it, man. Yeah, babies, we are quite the wild little beings, but these human beings, these colorful ones that emoted a two-legged coyote under the sun. I mean, who would create that? You know, except for, you know, a bunch of wild-ass human beings, man, I'm telling you. And what are human beings made out of? Well, the essence of stars, of course, man. Shoot. You know, you look up in the sky, you feel a strange familiarity when them old stars are shining bright now, don't you? You see? There's even one or two there called to you like personally, man. If you're real sensitive, you know where your home is. You know where your origin energy is. But home is the universe. It's one place. And one big old person given in a gazillion, bazillion persons, right? I mean, you can't even count them, man. You know, I mean, wow. And you got to think about it, you know. Now, if our ancestral tendencies are like that, if, you know, our generations were restless enough they couldn't stay in one place, they had to move on, start a new adventure somewhere else because what they had there wasn't good enough. It's slavery, baby, you know. Everybody's always trying to fulfill that dream that let's have it better for our children than we ever had it. And, in a lot of cases that's happened, but in most cases, as it gets easier, it gets harder because then the pressures all become psychological and a little more difficult to deal with, you see, because it's like programming. This happens automatically when you start a society of any sort and it's got its general perceptions and attitudes and ways. Well, that becomes your programming, and you'll either live in it or live with it or live through it and transform it, baby. That's what we're basically here for, is to get through the upside down, topsy-turvy world while at the same time getting it right side up. Tricky biz, I know, but you're capable or you wouldn't even be here, right? I knew it, baby. You're confident. That's all it takes. It's a Wowzer Wednesday here at Spring Creek, the headwaters of life. Your moment of truth coming from a tiny sound booth located somewhere out here in the wild lands of New Mexico, man, way up north here by Tues and Tres Piedras and places like that, man. I'm telling you, we're like, ooh, styling it in a mystical sort of way, ain't we? I'm glad you came out to play today on a Wowzer Wednesday. That's what you got to do here on this hazy radio network. Whenever Grandpa's coming through, you want to be here too, right? Yeah, I thought so, man. Because, well, without Grandpa, there is no life. Well, yeah, there's life. There's life. Life goes on no matter who it is or what it is, right? In fact, I don't think it ever ends. Do you? Oh, babies, it's two knowledge like that just moves your heart right into that preeminent place at the center of all life and gets you loving like you've never been loved before. Yes, indeedy. I mean loving. The kind that comes from this invisible place we call the ethereal, which is where life is created. In that invisible place. Yeah, well, it's not so invisible anymore. When you can feel it like that, another park, another Sunday, etc., man, when you can feel it like that, then you're in the glow. You got that, that natural nature on, man, which is not cruel. This nature is the nature of love, the nature that life is made of, the natural nature. And do you think it's going to create one unkind thing in any reality? Not if it can help it, let me tell you, man, because it is love. And it's as purely intended that each one of us is starting out in life. All we want to do is see that little dream fulfilled. You see, that's the way we be when we begin. Right there at Spring Creek, that's our Spring Creek moment, the beginning of life. When we go through the channels of death, through the mother and the birth canal of life again, and, come out on the flesh-bound side of things and say, oh my goodness, we're restricted, we're limited, what do? We can't fulfill this dream here, oh, boo-hoo-hoo. But darling, somehow or another, in every lifetime we live, I don't care how it's given, we do at least fulfill that one moment of love and purpose and build another little building block into the great wall of life, which is really not a wall at all, but a great big giant huge projector that, shows a clear view of the life we're living. That's what we're here to be given. That's what we're here to be finding. That's what we're here to be doing, my darlings, is flowing in that stream of life and enjoying every little bit of it. Good, bad, and indifferent. Let go of the judgmental ways, and you find it all flows in a certain way, the same way the stream of life does. River only goes one direction, right? No, it goes every direction. If you think about it, because it's not just flowing back to the ocean, it's also evaporating into the atmosphere. It's sending out little streams here and there to irrigate the banana plantations and the coffee plantations of the world and so forth. I mean, when you think about it, that stream of life is everywhere and everything, you see. And there is something to be happy about in all of it. In the least of it and the most powerful of it too, darlings. So wait for your moment, because it's here now. Let your heart be open. Let the love flow through you. Let yourself see it as you be it. Okay? 'Cause that's the clear way here on the Hazy Radio Network. That clear, clean drink of water, man, that cold, clear drink of water you get right from the heart of Mother Earth. That first little trickle of water that brought life to your personal being and your personal presence in this here personal reality that is so refined and so undefined in its refinement that, well, most people missed it until now. But guess what? We're catching on in droves, baby, as Grandpa Coyote and Okie Kenobi and Sweet Mary J continue to come out and play here early in the day. Help us get along the way with just a slight bit of encouragement, wouldn't you say? And all these good rock stars, all these good hearts went through these lives of hell to convey to you one little moment of sweet love and understanding, man. Can you appreciate that now? I thought so. Baby, you are catching on. I'm loving you for it, too, okay?